Welcome back to Lightning Returns. So now that Hope is done spewing more garbage exposition at us, let's see if we can...
Actually, he's not for once at the start.
Oh,
Well,
God.
well, that's why I said, Joe, but he's done, as in he finished it in the end of the last...
Actually,
So, oh no, I know what we're doing in this part. Whoa.
we're
What are we
dispersing.
doing?
We're about to meet Sazh.
Yes.
Again,
Sorry, Teo. Sorry, Teo, it cannot be avoided.
obviously, you need to do this for the 100%ing thing. But still, come on, like, what is done to you, Toriyama? I don't mean just in terms of, you know, representation, because that still is a problem. But even as a character in itself, what has Sazh done to you to have this treatment? Both
was
in 13-2 and here.
He got better reception than Lightning, from what I can gather.
Well, of
like-
course.
Well,
and
we
the-
can't have that now, can we?
Yeah.
People prefer an husband over your waifu.
I mean,
How
don't
dare.
get. I mean, you know, that's not to speak lowly of Sazh. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. I mean, being from 13, he's by no means a brilliant character, but at the very least, he's a character who works. And you know what? I wouldn't mind if, you know, I wouldn't mind if they brought him for more of the crossover stuff.
Of course, honey.
To the point where I would not even mind if he was in Kingdom Hearts
I
3.
forgot, was this a side quest where we just completed?
No.
Nope. This is the
this
first
is
we're
the si-
seeing of these two.
Yeah, it is.
Again,
This-
uniquely constructed models, for one.
I was under the... basically, Teo, this is me...
wait,
Lady,
I'm sorry.
could you please
Who
get
the-
out of the way?
Who the heck's the blonde one? And who are you now?
Fuck.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, now, basically, the reason I'm starting this side quest is because this side quest kind of foreshadows well, also wonderful doggy.
Wait,
that,
wait, hold on. Was that scene between those two models a flashback?
That's the thing, Joe, but the game doesn't really do a good enough job conveying what
So-
exactly
No,
it is.
it's that these cutscenes were quite the mess.
So let me get this straight. We had a
And
flash...
yet still better than Preference Raps cutscenes.
Wait, hold on. What about those two over there? That blonde girl looks like the same girl in that flashback. Or were those two... Or are we in the same time and those two are just talking about something? Like...
Time is collapsing, Joe.
Okay.
Sorry.
Seriously
Time is
asking...
convoluted in Lord Run.
Seriously asking though, why do we transition from those two, from that mother and daughter
what are
to
you
this
doing?
scene now?
Pedro, these NPCs are scaring me.
Like you said, Teo, it's all about observing what they do. They're like lab rats, and
But
we're
yeah.
the scientists.
But yeah, serious question, Pedro, Tio, whoever is like the big
Yes,
lore
whatever.
hunter on this one, what was up with that scene with the mother and daughter
I don't
being
know.
I
co-
think it was at
I
the
don't-
same time, and it was just when Lightning arrived, she was passing by when these two happened.
But then we immediately go to the cutscene with Brielle.
And,
Like,
well,
are they,
that's the thing,
are they
I don't know how
connected?
it's related between the two.
Again, Joe, but we don't know. The game is so poor at conveying things that we just don't know, Joe. I wish I had an answer for you, Joe, but I don't.
Because seriously, that had me thinking that, oh, we just saw a flashback of Briella and her mother, but then when
The
she
best
mentioned...
guess I can have at the moment is that they, you know, they symbolize.
Also, what is up with the names in this village?
Oh,
Well, there's a person called 13. There's a man called 7. Was
Oh,
Tori-
yeah,
were the writers lazy? Okay, we can come up with actual names for the characters.
In Type
Just give them
0 it
numbers.
makes-
To be
Type
fair,
0 it
if
makes
there's
sense
good enough
But this is
con-
not Type 0.
Okay,
No,
okay,
I know,
okay.
but I'm about to explain. In Type 0 it made sense, not just because it was a good game, but because also it had the members of Class 0 were actually named, were actually in a specific number, and each of them were named after a number in a different language. So Ace, the Cater, Cinque, and etc.
If I may...
Here it's
oh,
just
go, sorry.
random numbers.
Alright. If I may, you know, I mean, it does a certain context. It may make sense, you know, like we'll say in Kingdom Hearts, it makes sense that some people are labeled by numbers from Organization 13. So, you know, maybe
Well,
there's...
that's more so because of code. You know,
Let me
like
finish.
it's kind of like code. The code
me finish.
names or something. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
My point is, like, I mean, is there, like, some story reason for them being
No.
given the names and numbers?
Don't think
Not
so.
that I can tell. Maybe there's like one side quest in the 13th day, or what I say, the 12th day, where they explain that. But again, can you really blame me for not going out of my way to solve every single side quest?
No, I do not blame you. I'm just saying, I mean, like, maybe there's a reason for their names being that way, and I guess, if there is a quest actually explaining that, then I guess they technically do explain it. I mean, okay, I'll be quite honest. I guess I'm just used to seeing weird names in JRPGs because normally there's some context behind them. It's only when there's no reasoning behind the names that I really raise an eyebrow.
I mean, it's not like in Kuni 2 where in true
semi-platforming.
I mean, it's not like in Kuni 2 where in keeping up with tradition of the first game, there's a lot of NPCs that have punny names because it's in Kuni. It's kind of like and even other level 5 games do that as well. Like, for example, like the NPC on Leaf Book that always does these things. Oh, here's a picture of the place where I hid this treasure. Go see if you can find it. The guy, the name is Haydn Go Seeker. So again, punny names, but again, you can tell why they're named like that because the writer was, in Richard Marconian Wood were feeling quirky. So there's at the very least some. I'm sorry, what, Teo?
Yeah, the music just glitched out.
No, Teo. The music always stops when we get to this point.
Okay.
It's because they want to keep the atmosphere for the scene.
Oh boy, here we go.
I have to ask, have we just been doing 2 big hub worlds lately? Because I realized that, lately the game we've just been going to the city and this area, which I'll give it credit. I mean, it's incredibly big and has a lot of subsections, but are we literally just going through 2 big hub worlds?
Hey, Jova, that harmonica sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it
does.
Don't worry, Jova. We'll see the desert at some point.
Sazh?
In fact, I will see it later in this part, actually. So yeah.
Oh, goody, he's mopey.
Great.
Because that's.
Gee, wait. Don't tell me. Let me guess. Sazh is in some kind of trouble, and
it's involving his son.
He needs to be saved. Because and that's the whole point in Sazh's part of the story.
Oh, so that's what hit the chaos. What the heck is the chaos? Some big dark cloud or something? Because that's
the black smoke thing energy.
So
for some reason, it worked like that only for Dajh.
Like, seriously, Dajh is like the only person who's been affected like this. Like, oh no, the chaos came and it. Well, everyone seems to be fine, but I guess we're in some sort of limbo that. Oh, hey, Chocolina.
Not just that. Allow me to point out, this is the 3rd game in a row where Sazh's entire story is the exact same. It's always the same. Dajh is in some kind of trouble. Sazh needs to save him. It's always this thing.
The thing is, like, they make it worse and worse.
And as a character on his own, like, he spends from being a genuinely concerning family man who just tags along with a bunch of assholes to a man forced to gamble to actually get his son, and now to this emotionless husk that doesn't care anymore about life.
Not only that, but why is, I get Sazh being down about his son, but, this isn't the first time it seemed like all hope was lost for his son. Like how in Final Fantasy XIII, all hope seemed lost for his son, and yet his arc was about getting out of that state and actually trying to fight the best he could. So why doesn't he just get up his rear end and help?
Jova, he stated that Dajh has been in a coma like that for centuries, so I guess it's just the passage of time that made him go more and more depressed, but it's still not an excuse.
So,
especially because when you get down to it, and Pedro can confirm, the fragments are actually really easy to find. So you're telling me that Sazh just left his own ass off all this time.
Well, to be fair, one of them is being guarded by a cactuar, so maybe Sazh has trouble finding him.
That's the thing, he never mentioned, like he just mentioned that, there are fragments I can find them.
Would she melt if you stepped into the light?
I wish.
Lumina, I get that you're trying to be annoying, but you're not even really working at that because you make no sense literally.
Well, she annoys me, not so much because of her behavior, more so because of the fact that, once again, all her dialogue is basically treating me like I'm a dumbass and cannot put one together.
Oh, I get her annoying you in that sense. What I mean is, like, she's not really working as, the kind of antagonist that's supposed to, get under the character and player's skin. Like, she's not even really effective at that because, with a character I get annoyed at. Let's say Marluxia. I get annoyed at Marluxia because he gets under my skin. Of course, that's the point of Marluxia in Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Lumina does not really work with that. I mean, okay, yeah, she's annoying in
Oh,
the
yeah, and
sense
yes, one of the fragments is just given to you.
how
Like
nice.
that.
Anything
I'll say
more?
yes to you.
No,
Anything?
but basically in that cutscene, you said about she stepping in the light. In that cutscene, I didn't even knew where the shadow ended and when the lighting actually started.
Yeah, the
Wow.
lighting is awful.
But
So yeah,
going
here's,
back.
here's the
sorry,
basic,
go on.
the basic gist of it is we need to find all the 5 fragments of Dajh's soul, and because Jova, because Toriyama's an idiot.
I wasn't actually gonna ask why, but yeah, that's also a good answer. I was just gonna say, what
What other
kind
answer can I even give you?
Just that, pay attention to this. Sazh is the only member left of the original party that has this specific requirement, and you need to do it to get the actual true ending. So the game is telling you at this point that Sazh is crucial to finishing the game, but he's gonna play a role in the end.
Oh, how nice!
Keep that thought in mind.
So yeah, what I was saying was there's 5 fragments we can get. The one is given to us. One, Chocolina has it, and we'll have to ask her about it. The other one is somewhere in the desert. The other one, we need to talk to the
Given
soldier.
yeah, by a prize at the Colosseum.
So was that supposed?
That too.
Music.
Yeah, I love this music. I love this music. But anyway, the soul traders, aka those guys with the VV black mage hats, they also have one, and we need to talk to them about it.
Huh, there are soul traders in this universe, even though this is literally the first time we've heard about a fragmented soul, like, in ever, there are apparently soul traders.
Well, remember, Joe, we established when we met the first guy, he said that they deal in soul seeds, whatever, not that the game ever explains what the hell the soul seeds even are.
So what? We don't even, like you just said, we don't even know what soul
Hey,
seeds
look,
really
guys,
are.
it's Lost Dog.
No,
What? Lost
No.
dog.
Oh, you poor dog.
no, please.
You look at it too. Look
Oh,
at it.
I-13.
Sazh's
That
assistant,
hat.
but who are you? Tilda. I'm a doctor around here. We have a bit of a
Lulu,
problem.
what's your head
Why does
doing
she-
on a
why does she
decapitated
has
doll?
The Pedro, you will not.
What?
There he is.
Ugh.
He doesn't look happy.
Ugh.
Why does
Yes.
he have a squirrel tail?
Yes, that dog is very injured.
No, yeah.
There's
Can't
something
you
very
tell?
wrong with that
Can't you
dog.
tell just by looking at it?
I mean,
that
look
it's
at it.
injured?
Look at it. His tail is separated from his body. If you actually pay attention, it's
Because
all
as we all
curled
know,
up.
because as we all know, dogs that are gravely injured are waggling their tails. You know, it's not like waggling their tails is a sign that they're happy.
But don't you see, Pedro? His tail is barely hanging on by a thread. Like, look at how it's digitally animated to be separate, almost as if it's a cartoony choice. And look at how his mouth is all damaged, bruised to the point where it's looking
I
blocky.
think he might have something wrong with his jaw.
Are you messing with the camera on
And
this cutscene?
Nintendo 64 models look amazing compared to that.
That's
Why?
sad.
Question: can you actually mess with the camera during these cutscenes, or is
Yes,
that
I can. I'm doing it right now.
Exactly what he's
okay?
doing.
Like seriously, that dog is in pain, in physical, horrible pain.
Maybe that dog is an in-game physical representation.
Just, I know you can see the dog's injury, but imagine that it's there.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I'll give
Don't worry.
credit to Paper's for
Like, look at that, and look at that. His eyes are constantly disappearing, frame in and frame out. Like,
Holy shit, you're right, Jova.
he is a very, very sick dog. Like, look at how his paws don't even really have the toes.
The mouth model, everything is wrong with it.
And it looks like he buried his feet into the dirt, which is clearly the
Like
case, and
Shadow
not
in
like we
Sonic
couldn't
06.
actually animate that.
He kind of looks like something fell on his face and it's really flat there.
Look at how his arms are merged with his legs, guys.
You could
mo-
use
the-
his face as a tabletop.
Like, seriously,
The
seriously.
more I look at that dog, the more wrong it looks.
Seriously, guys, we have to give such great praise to Square Enix for going out of this way to show such a gruesome image of an animal clearly in misery.
Yeah,
Clearly, they
again,
put a
Jova,
lot of thought into this.
Again, Jova, at this point in time, well, 15 was not yet released, so let's not use that for the moment. But up until this point, Square Enix was such a synonymous for great games with great graphics, no matter the actual quality of the game itself. Even
And
the
then-
shittier ones like Mindjack.
And then the
great graphics.
13
And
trilogy.
this shit stain on the windshield.
Well, hey, at
Have
least
the
we could...
audacity to make a dog look like that.
In recent games, they've calmed down a bit with the
But there were
graphics.
justifications for that.
Yeah,
15 was
I
an
mean,
open world.
15 was an open world game. Nier Automata, of course, doesn't look, I mean, it's a brilliant game. Don't get me wrong, but
But when it came to Final Fantasy,
And also,
not
though,
exactly top notch.
Yeah.
But,
here's the thing, though. When
what
it came
else?
to when it came
World
to
of Final Fantasy is very cartoonish in its
And
look.
then
But again, it fits.
Well, that's
It fits the tone of the game.
That's
Go
exactly
ahead.
the point, though. When it came to Final Fantasy, which is pretty much their flagship franchise, they always were going on about how they're using the most advanced technology, the best looks of all. Like, I mean, they're still using that boast with the upcoming Final Fantasy VII remake. Like,
Anyway,
I mean,
basically, you need to give this guy a couple soul seeds, and he'll trade it for the fragment of radiance.
So
there you
yeah,
Now we
let's
have
go
two
back. So yeah, let's go back to talking about that. Like, okay, you're only just now introducing the fact that people can trade in fragments of souls, apparently. And again, Dajh is the only person we've seen affected in this way. Which brings me back to the fact that the chaos is... Well, that's a lazy way of putting it. It's like that Kingdom Hearts game that tried to make hurt a noun. Like, don't get me wrong, the game is not as bad,
you
but
recorded, okay, when rocks just can't shut up about being her, you being her.
they're hurt. Don't you see, Tio? And we mean hurt isn't a noun,
yeah,
like...
but to be honest, I never understood those cuts. Like, I could actually, but surprisingly enough, cutscene-wise, I could actually bear with coded up until Castle Oblivion. After that, it's like a steep downhill.
But yeah, the point here is like, well, again, the chaos. You know, when people think chaos, they think anarchy, like things going bizarre, weird. Like, for
And
example...
for the context of Final Fantasy, they actually think as a
look who
6
she
foot
is.
tall demon.
Oh
I
yeah,
do think I show it off.
that reminds me, was like the whole text about the Chocobo
Also,
chick wanting to...
Paul,
So was like the whole text bit about the Chocobo chick wanting to tell you something, your hint to go talk to Chocolina?
No.
Oh.
Basically,
Sorry.
basically what we do is we talk to Chocolina, and now she's
Oh,
talking about how
she's terribly
also
worried about them. That's why we never see her actually interact with them. Do we ever see her interact with them as
No.
she is in this game?
No.
You
Only in
know...
the first game. Only in the first game, because remember, she was the Chocobo chick in the first game.
Well,
Anyway.
well, she's
Oh,
te-
the Chocobo
well,
chick actually returns,
um,
so there's even a paradox going
actually,
around.
Pedro, yeah, I mean, remember, there was a text box that said the Chocobo chick wants to tell you something. That was the same Chocobo chick that hangs out in Saz's
Not
hair.
that one specifically, Jova, that one was blue. Size Chocobo chick is yellow.
Oh, I thought that was just the lighting engine failing again.
No, it was actually blue.
We know this.
So, you know, Chocolina, you're so broken about what's going on with them, why not actually go to them, help them out? I mean, what? It's not like you're trying to keep it a big secret that you're that same Chocobo chick, though I do have to wonder, how are there two Chocolinas now?
Holy shit, this phone cannot shut up.
You know what? I'll
Yeah.
take her ranting over Hope, if only because she's less in the game.
Not just that, but
And at least
she
she's
at
actually
the
being
very-
helpful.
She at the very least has somewhat of an energy in her voice, whereas Hope is just soulless.
And you know,
dead.
and you know what?
It's too much energy, though. She needs to dial it back a little bit.
You know what? Honestly, I'll take energy at this point. You know what? She's a character who has good motivations, good intentions, and is actually
Alright, so
and
here's
is
what you
actually
need to do.
helping us out. So you know
That-
what?
this-
Plus to that.
We need to do the side quest called. Oh, well, actually, I think I'm going to also complete this one. Might as well, since I already have all the items.
Oh, so
Hold on.
there's difficulties for these side quests.
Yes, there is.
So what is it like? How strong the enemies are, or how long it goes?
Yeah, probably.
Not that it matters much, because there you go. Key to the heart. Give her the beloved's gift, which I got in the previous part, so that's why I showed myself getting it.
Key to the heart.
Yeah, Joe, very clever.
Very clever. There we go. Now that
Oh
we
my
completed that
God.
side quest, look at that ground texture. Look at that. It's shot. It's like it's sand in there
No,
or something.
it's like it's mud. It's like shoots these shiny.
Oh wait, hold on.
It looked like it had a layer of TV static on it.
Here, I'll take it out for you
Or
right
some
now.
kind of static.
But yeah, basically by giving her the beloved's gift, she gives us the fragment of courage. Is it?
Lightning just asked why she doesn't do this for Sazh herself. Apparently she explained it's something in my heart or something.
Here it is. One
Yeah,
I'm
hearts
too
and
lazy
hearts.
to do it. You do it.
And
Hearts
I guess
and hearts
with
and
that, we
hearts,
also
the
trade
hearts.
our soul.
Thanks. I've got this
Mm-hmm.
now. No, thank you. I hope I've helped pay him back.
Holy
for
shit, the
everything
phone
he's
is
done
still
for
going.
Wow, I mean, she really seems to appreciate Sazh letting her...
Excuse me, please, go away.
She really...
Answer your phone.
Oh, I'll tell you, she's checking the quests. Come on, just
It's
let her.
showing her ass to lightning.
She really seems to appreciate Sazh letting
She's just-
her...
She's just checking if there's any good quests to do too. Come on.
Boy, Chocolina seems to really appreciate Sazh letting her rest in his hair. Like, I mean, pay him back for what he did for me. Like, he, bought you and presented you to Dajh? I mean, I guess that Sazh gave her a good home as a chocobo chick. But hey, I mean, look, at least Chocolina actually does some...
No hope.
You know what? At least Chocolina does some good stuff. Yeah, she's a bit annoying, but at least she does something of use. Has a good enough character arc. Is that all
You'd
the...
like to see them both smile someday? How about this? How about this?
You
Actually,
starting?
have
So,
Toriyama put him in something dignifying.
so question.
You know-
Aside from, you know, merchandise and shopping stuff, is that like the last we get from Chocolina in this game?
Basically.
Well, I mean, as
Right.
like
Go ahead,
humanoid
Shiroi.
Chocolina, I'm guessing that we'll see more of Chocobo Chocolina.
Go ahead, Shiroi. What is
This
it?
is where you can.
For as annoying as, you know, he can be, at least Omochao lets us have some silence every once in a fucking while.
And at least we can fire Omochao out of a gun and Shadow the
Well, it
Hedgehog.
depends on which Omochao you mean. Like, if it's the one in Generations, it can be a bit annoying for some people.
That's what
not
the
for
off
me.
button is for. You can't switch this guy off.
No, it's one of those things, you know, like
Because he's voiced by
uh,
Laura Bailey in that one, I'm guessing.
Well, if you want to put it like that, sure.
I thought so.
To be fair, Jova.
That
to be
said,
fair,
though, I
she
won't admit...
voices-
Yeah,
To be
go on.
fair, Jova, she voices Omochao also in Sonic Free Riders, and I'm not seeing Pedro busting his ass on Kinect for that.
Has Pedro even
No one
gotten
fucking-
free
I
riders?
have YouTube. Tell. I have YouTube to watch the cutscenes. Why would I?
One does it, right? One does.
Like, seriously, Sonic Free Riders has got to be one of the worst-selling Xbox exclusives
I
because
feel
of the
so
Kinect.
bad for Johnny.
Wait,
like, I feel the
Johnny
pain
did
when-
Sonic Free Riders?
Oh yes, Jova.
Oh, that's right, he did
showcased
a little-
actual footage
Was
of
it as
Free
good as
Riders.
Angry Joe's review of that, I wonder?
Well, it was more like from a well, how should I put this?
Was it like a
Johnny
let's
tried-
look at?
Johnny,
Didn't
Johnny,
know,
to
so-
quote his words, Johnny spent like 2 hours on the fucking tutorial and he showed his failed attempt.
You know,
It's,
you know,
I'm not. The thing I think the primary reason why I never got that game is because I happen to like my spine. So
but Pedro,
Everyone does.
if you do it two-player style, then you can do it with your wife or somebody who you have to hold hands with and lean in and back
This
forward.
game is too lewd.
It's a great dating game.
I'm sure. Did it work well with you and Alice, Roy?
I don't know,
I'm not
Shiro.
buying that game.
Like,
I'm
yeah,
too
that's
You know,
I don't know,
Fuck
Shiro.
my
Like,
money, okay?
You know, bringing up Sonic Free Riders just reminded me how dead the Kinect is.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Shiro. Me, when it comes to dating games, me and Vanessa prefer something like the likes of Catherine. Not so much.
Wait, how do you date with a game of Catherine? It's single player.
there is a co-op mode
Oh, there is a-
for multiplayer. Although for the European PS3 version, it's kind of glitched.
Hey, you know,
Although we're getting a remake soon, so...
Yeah.
You know, how telling is it that the minute Microsoft
Well,
tried...
not so much a remake, more like an enhanced port. But go ahead.
How telling is it that Microsoft's downfall seemed to start with when they tried ripping off Nintendo with the Kinect. I mean, the Kinect is not the main reason that they're failing now, but when you think about it, the Kinect started the trend, you know? I mean, yeah, the Kinect was a thing with the 360, then it became a requirement with the Xbox One before they backtracked out of it, and well, that set up the stage of the Xbox One being weak. And now the Kinect is not even... You know, for as bad as the Kinect was, at the very least it gave reason for there to be Xbox One exclusives. Now they don't even have that.
You know, for as much as I bang on about how much I hate it, I would take VR over the Kinect.
Okay.
Yeah, I might actually take VR for the Kinect too. I mean, the best thing the Kinect is for is just...
VR is not, you know, a health risk.
Well, it does make people throw up. So.
Well, that depends on more like on the person, I'm guessing. I mean, some people are more
Oh,
tolerable
yeah,
than
yeah,
others.
that's
the main difference is that the Kinect is really only good for dancing games. Like, for as much as I rag on about VR, VR can actually be useful for more than just one kind of game.
And that's also the problem with Kinect. They actually tried everything else outside of dancing. They tried fighting games, they tried a mecha simulator, they tried platforming, but none of it worked. So
Because,
yeah.
Anyway, to get back into this though,
Yes.
Oh, we're in
welcome
the
everybody
desert.
to Plastic Desert.
Why did we have-
Yeah, we showed this in Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric and it still stands. Those
Gah.
plastic desert textures are terrible.
Okay, why does this
Yeah.
world have that weird checker field background boundary when others don't?
Actually, Jova, that's the Chaos border. If you want to
Yeah.
pass it, you get into one of the Chaos areas.
Cut them down.
Wait, so we actually can pass through that, and there are chaos areas? So
Yes,
what?
Joe, we've already
Jova,
done
yes,
this
they-
throughout the entire playthrough, and I've already explained it, Joe.
It's
I-
essentially grinding spots.
Yeah. I don't recall us ever going through one of those checker-bound areas, but yeah, now that you mention it, yeah.
Voila.
So basically, it's this game's equivalent to the Heartless worlds in End of the World.
Kinda.
Okay, so basically, there's one fragment of Dajh's soul into here in the desert. So let's look for it, I guess.
So my question is, why did we have to go all underground and through that underground cavern to get to the desert?
That was me. Like that was my bad. I
Saw this coming.
thought maybe I could, while I'm at it, also get one of the tablets that we're gonna need later for the main quest of this. But
Oh,
that
neat.
wasn't the correct place to go into. So I realized
Sorry,
it soon enough.
Jova.
But
it's
isn't
not
it great,
really neat.
But isn't it great, Pedro? Because of that route, we got more Hope dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Well,
frickin',
we were gonna get it anyway. It's scripted.
you know what? Wait, but couldn't you just come here by train and then you might not have gotten it?
Every time we get to this specific part of the desert, that particular conversation triggered. It's meant to be triggered.
Okay,
You cannot avoid that.
Okay, I'll be quite honest. Did we actually go from the town to the desert via the underground, or were we actually in the desert
No,
before
I
we went
teleported.
underground? Oh,
I
yeah.
used my teleporting powers to save myself some
Teleport's
time.
behind
It's sad, but I have to admit, it's hard for me to keep track of this game when it's so dull. Like, look at this. Like, I know desert levels aren't usually the most exciting, but come on! This is open area stuff. Like, this is like
There's not
Kingdom...
even the survival component into it.
And I know, but if anyone
Allow me to
says,
remind-
yes, Kingdom Hearts 3D has the same problem, the difference is that Kingdom Hearts 3D is from a franchise I actually, you know, like, not from a trilogy that's bad. And, you know, at least Kingdom Hearts 3D still has stuff like the flow motion, the dream eaters, and
Kingdom Hearts
whatnot.
3D is fun to play at least.
Yeah, I mean, it has problems.
I'm still hoping Flow Motion returns in free because I really love playing around with that.
It depends. I mean, because the areas don't look as wide and open. Like, that is one issue with Kingdom Hearts 3D. The full motion is great, but Jesus Christ, those areas are a little too open, wide, and
And
empty.
it really screws you up against some boss fights.
And
Well, regardless.
and of all the things to come back from 3D, please, please, please keep away the drop timer. Like, seriously, whoever.
I'm pretty sure that won't return. They know.
I just want to know what was even the mindset
Have you played
behind
the,
it?
Have you played Birth by Sleep 0.2 on the 2-player collection, Jova? Because that's pretty much a Kingdom Hearts 3 demo for all intents and purposes.
No, I've not.
The gameplay of Kingdom Hearts 3 is pretty much going to be the refinement of the Kingdom Hearts 2 gameplay.
From what I've heard, it's a mix of Kingdom Hearts 2 with a bit of 358 over 2 days, but the main bulk is Kingdom Hearts 2 mixed with Birth by Sleep's gameplay.
It does have some Birth by Sleep elements, yes, so you can still do the command styles, but they're done in a different way. Basically, think Kingdom Hearts 2 with Birth by Sleep elements.
I guess my main thing is
That's the basic gist of it. They went back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 style of gameplay.
like I have
Since that-
faith.
since that game is still the most liked one, so that's probably why they went back to that. Since the commands, I love the command system, but I can understand that it's not everybody's
Broken.
cup of tea.
It was easy to
Okay.
break in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
Balloon!
I understand that, but I don't know. I kind of like systems that are. I kind of have fun breaking systems like that, but I can understand at the same time people
Well,
would want something
I
that
can
would-
imagine
Oh, I
also
like
for
them
the sake
too.
of, having variety again. In a sense, they were using the command system up until that point.
Sure.
So
Oh, I like them
I don't
too.
mind
It's just
either.
like, I mean, I can see why Square might have you know, not let it be as broken as can
To
be.
go back to what Trevor was saying about. Sorry.
But yeah, my only wonder is like, well, why the heck? I just want to know what was the mindset behind the drop time. Like that is one of the most painstakingly dragging things in the game.
Supposedly was meant to not have you. Supposedly it was. Well, the thing is, Jova, regardless of what its purpose was, it's incredibly easy to get around it. So
Well,
even if it does have a purpose, I don't even. It's rather completely moot because it's incredibly easy to get around it by just consistently going to the save point and switching over and over.
The problem is like, well, if say you're in the middle of a boss fight and the drop timer drops, you drop out of the fight, and when you get back to that character's story, you've got to start the fight all over again. Like,
let me address that though. To be fair, if you know what you're doing, when you're at the save point right before the boss, if your drop gauge is low, just switch back with Riku and then switch back again, and you'll be fine.
but it's still not fun.
So that. No, I agree with you, but at the same time, let's not pretend that there aren't ways to avoid that situation. Come on.
I don't feel like I should. Oh my god! I just realized
No, I agree with you. I agree with you that we shouldn't have to go through that extra step.
Pedro.
But to be fair, we're not forced to make a gamble like that. I'm just trying to.
You know
be
what's
fair
sad,
with
Pedro? We're more interested in talking about the shortcomings of a Kingdom Hearts game, a 3DS Kingdom Hearts game, than this console game we're talking about.
Like I've said before, for as bad, I mean, regardless of story problems.
Oh yeah, this is 3D was still better than Lightning Returns.
Well, yeah, like I've said before, regardless of story problems, the Kingdom Hearts series has always been, at the very least, to me, fun to play. So I can always, at the very least, take solace in that. And judging from 0.2, it's still going to be incredibly fun to play Kingdom Hearts 3 anyways. So
except for 358 over 2 days.
True, but I did enjoy the story in that game, ending notwithstanding, because the ending had that ice cream line that we all love to make fun of. but that line aside, I did kind of enjoy the story despite its convolutedness. But
sure, Roy, who else will I eat ice cream with?
Like I said before, I've said this before. Like, despite the problems that they've had.
Okay. To be fair, let's not turn this into a Kingdom Hearts commentary.
Yeah. Sure. I'm sorry. I got myself carried away. See you for the next part, everybody. Hopefully, we'll actually talk more about the game. See ya.